There are so many twists and turns and crazy fucking shit going on behind the scenes of UFC 300. It's fucking unbelievable.
I bet.
Everything that everybody thinks about UFC 300 right now literally could all change fucking tomorrow.
Is this really what Dana was talking about when he was hyping the fuck out of UFC 300 on the Nauk Boys podcast? I don't think so. Dana probably had some different shit in mind. He probably tried a couple different things. I know he spoke to Leon Edwards. I know he spoke to Israel Adesanya.
Leon Edwards has had like 3 opponents throughout this thing. Leon Edwards doesn't say no to anybody. This kid is an absolute stud. He's had like 3 opponents thrown at him during UFC 300. Yes. Was willing to take on anybody, man. Kid's an absolute stud.
But is this really what he was talking about? I mean, Jamahal Hill versus Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira fighting anyone, to be honest, is an insane fight. And of course, this is an amazing fight to have. But to headline UFC 300, bro, this is the most mud shit I've ever seen in my entire life. UFC 300 main event has Jamahal Hill in it. That's how you know this card is cooked. I mean, the card's okay. For UFC 300, for any other event, this is an insane card. It's stacked and there are some questionable fights on it, but for the most part, almost every fight on this entire card could headline an event. But what events are we talking about? Are we talking about some mid card where nobody really gives a fuck about it besides maybe the main event or some fight nights? Because that's really what I'm getting. But you know what I'm not getting is why you haven't liked the video yet. Please hit that like button. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe for more content like this. 98% of my viewers are not subscribed, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. So please help your boy out and hit that subscribe button. Back to the video. Again, Bo Nickel versus Brandage is crazy. It is a trash fight. We know Bo Nickel is going to win. There is no questioning that. Then we have Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. That's a good match. I would prefer to see Aljo fight somebody else in the featherweight division, maybe a Brian Ortega or somebody higher up in the rankings. Calvin Kattar, that's a decent fight, but it's not really, you know, the most out there entertaining fight. I'm not even going to talk about these female fights, and I do not hate on female MMA. It's just I didn't want to see Zhang Weili dog it out for 5 rounds against somebody else. Like, I didn't want to see Zhang Weili do that in this event. We know, okay, Zhang Weili is going to dog it out. It's going to be entertaining to see. But nobody cares about Zhang Weili. Nobody really gives a fuck. Like, let's be honest. There's no personality behind that. She doesn't speak English. I mean, there's English fighters that are actually entertaining and have a backstory and have some substance. Zhang Weili is just a good performer. She's a good fighter. She's very entertaining, but not when it comes to the hype aspect. She's not a star. She doesn't have star power in any way, in my opinion, and there's nothing intriguing about her. The way Dana was hyping up that shit on the Nauk Boys pod made me honestly think that it was gonna be some, you know, some decent stuff, like maybe Leon v Islam, or even Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya for the light heavyweight. I mean, Alex and Izzy only fought twice in the UFC, and they're both 1-1. Let's have a third fight to settle it out. You know that's going to be a fight that everyone's tuning in to see. Izzy's a huge star. Alex is a huge star. This is a huge fight. To be honest though, I was really hoping Conor McGregor versus Mike Chandler was going to be the main event, and I know a lot of fans were hoping for that too. In my last video that I made about UFC 300, you should go check it out. I did say that that would be the only fight to make to save the card. I mean, the card has 3 okay fights on it, right? The only 2 like really good fights in my opinion are Max Holloway versus Gaethje, and then we got Arman Tsarukyan versus Oliveira. Those are 2 undeniable bangers of fights. Jamahal Hill versus Alex could have been on this card, you know, maybe a bit down the line, but main event Jamahal Hill, UFC 300? Like I said in my last video, UFC 300 is one of those cards that casuals are supposed to tune in and be somewhat familiar with the names of the fighters. A lot of these fighters on this card, casuals wouldn't be too familiar with. UFC 299 is better. UFC 298 was better than UFC 300 is going to be. I don't know what these matchmakers are thinking. It should have been Blachowicz versus Jiri Prochazka. That's a fight that is more entertaining, and honestly, 2 guys that are big names in the division. Why haven't these guys fought yet? I don't know. Why wasn't this made on UFC 300? I don't know. I had little to no faith that Conor was going to be on this card, or that the card would even be saved by an insane headliner. But when Dana went on that Nelk Boys pod and started hyping it up, saying what he was saying, I started to believe. I was like, maybe Dana does have some absolute banger shit that's going to be a main event for the biggest card yet for UFC. Maybe he does. Bro, and then after Volk loses, which was already heartbreaking low-key, I can't lie, this shit gets announced. And I'm like, yeah, this is good, this is cool, this would hit for like any other main event. But for UFC 300, oh hell nah. Now there is still one more fight that's going to be announced on the card. I'm genuinely hoping it's actually something good. I'm thinking it could be Leon Edwards possibly, because Dana said he was offered 3 different fights, accepted all of them. I'm praying it's a good fight. Maybe Izzy versus DDP. That would be actually absolutely insane. I don't know. Right now the card is kind of disappointing for UFC 300. Like I said, if this was any other card, it would be absolutely insane. This is a hyped card, don't get me wrong. It's just this main event ain't it, I won't lie. And there's a couple fights on this card that ain't it too. UFC 300, I was expecting more out of it. Maybe Conor could still be on it. I don't think that's happening. I honestly don't. From what Dana said at the press conference about Conor.
Conor McGregor, what is the holdup with his return?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the Ultimate Fighter was over back in August, and I can't imagine the plan was for him to be out as long as he's been.
Well, the first problem was that he broke that shin bone. He was recovering from that. That was one of the reasons we had it on. The other problem is he's fucking rich.
And how does that present an issue to you with negotiations?
What do you mean?
Well, I'll ask, does Conor McGregor...
Conor McGregor doesn't need money.
So are we at a point here where Conor McGregor may never fight for the UFC? Can you say that?
If you had shitloads of money, would you be sitting here right now asking me this fucking question?
No.
No, you would not. That just answered your question.
Well, I answered no. So you're saying there's a chance that Conor McGregor will not fight again for the UFC?
I don't know. Conor McGregor's got a lot of money.
It's not looking like Conor finna be fighting. Conor just got too much bread, and now man's is sleeping on silk sheets, waking up to gold plates and cups. He's having the time of his life, and he's on a coke spree. So he ain't gonna be fighting anytime soon. But, you know, you never know what could happen. I'm just wondering how these boxers that get paid a shit ton of money per fight are still hungry and still fighting in their divisions actively, like maybe at least once a year. Like, I understand Conor had the injury, I understand he was healing from that. That was like 2 years ago now. Like, please, bro, come back, Conor. The UFC needs you for one fight at least. Boxers are still fighting. Boxers make a shit ton of money too. So I don't get that. Conor just lost the drive. Conor clearly isn't in it anymore like he used to be. But anyways, guys, thanks for listening to me rant about UFC 300. If you enjoyed the video and you liked some of the stuff I said, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You know, help your boy out. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers before the end of March. So I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I've been Fadlu, and peace out.